Nick Hausman here, back at WWE Royal Rumble weekend in San Antonio, Texas. Today we're at the Special Olympics event held by the WWE, and I am joined by Chad Gable. Chad, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me, man.
Now, you had some really heartfelt words before today's event. This, I know, means a lot to you. I don't know if you want to talk to everybody out there about your connection with Special Olympics and what you enjoy about these events.
Yeah, I started being asked a few years ago by the company to do a couple of these appearances, and they resonate with me for, a couple of reasons. Obviously, my own Olympic background. I was an Olympic wrestler in 2012, but my nephew is epileptic and participates in Special Olympics, bowling and other sports, and he's been heavily involved for years. And so, it's this dichotomy where it merges, my professional life, my personal values, and then my family all together in one. And it's just so not only inspiring, but man, they get me amped up watching these kids do their thing, man. Their energy and just their intensity, work ethic, and just their attitude towards life. You can't really put a price on it, man. It's pretty special.
You bring up intensity. That's one of the three I's, right?
Yes.
You get a lot of comparisons to WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle.
Sure.
And it's got to the point now where you guys are a little synonymous. How do you feel pressure when you're getting compared to somebody as so notorious and known in pro wrestling as Kurt Angle?
There's pressure. The pressure part of it has kind of gone away as much as it's more now. It's just gratifying because he's not only a legend, but the guy that was the archetype for me as a kid of what I could become as an amateur wrestler, because I was a pro wrestling geek from a very young age. I've loved it my whole life. I was a tape trader. I was one of those guys.
You traded tapes?
Dude, if you traded tapes, I guarantee one probably came from me when I was a kid. So I was heavily obsessed from a very young age. And so when I saw Kurt burst on the scene as I'm just peaking as a Greco-Roman wrestler and chasing my early Olympic stages of my dream, I'm like, man, he's doing it right now. He's doing what I'm planning. He's planting the seeds. He's setting the stage for me. And he did, And so now it's just very gratifying when people do those comparisons, because not only is he one of, if not the greatest of all time, certainly the greatest to ever make the transition. So those are very special. And just the kind words Kurt always has to say about me is just as gratifying.
That's I wanted to know. Do you guys have a relationship outside of WWE?
Yeah, we've done a lot of stuff. We've done appearances together. We've done a lot of the table for three stuff where we talk and share stories. And I think I've told this story before, but I met him at Mall of America when I was it was one of his first years with WWE after his VHS came out, and I brought it, got him to sign it, and told him I'm going to be in WWE someday. I don't know how old I was young, and he's like, all right, good luck, we'll see you down there. And then 15 years later, I was wrestling him in Chicago, in WWE. So it's kind of it's a very interesting, unique story, man. Life will take you funny places, man. If you.
Yeah, well, I think everybody saw American Alpha, and they obviously saw shades of the world's greatest tag team and everything like that. Obviously, Jason's still with the company. He works backstage right now. What is the dynamic between you guys right now, with him working backstage, the producer capacity, and you being in the ring?
So Jason, I still consider one of my best friends. I mean, we grew so close in those few years that we were tag team, and now that he's producing, I always say I say a quick thank you every time that he's on the producer sheet under my match or my segment, because our mindsets are so similar, exactly the same. So he needs to know, he knows he needs to tell me very little, and I know that I need to ask very little of him, because we're basically going to say the same thing either way. We know how each other works, how we operate, and man, I'm just so happy he found a place after. Because what a tragic thing to happen, to have an injury end such a promising career. He was on the upswing, and I think it was one of those situations where this character that they gave him, that he started developing, people were at first oh, this isn't working at all, but they were just not quite seeing what it was going to be yet. And he was on that rise. He was there, man. He was finding his groove, and then just got cut down in his prime. So it's sad, but I'm happy to see him. He's having a lot of success. He's happy doing the job he is, and he's really good at it. So it's cool to see.
Well, I'll close asking you kind of an American Alpha related question. So you and Otis are like a combo of two of the greatest NXT teams of all time.
Okay.
American Alpha, Heavy Machinery. Yeah. Another legendary NXT tag team's contract comes up in April, and that's FTR.
Never heard of them.
No. I think you know them.
Okay.
So would you like to see them back in the fold? I mean, you guys have such a flush tag division in WWE right now.
Sure.
What are your thoughts about them potentially coming back to the company?
Selfishly, I would love it. Those guys were and are guys that I consider professional rivals, but also my best friends, which sometimes that's the best combo because not only can we push each other, but we really challenge each other in a way that like I've never been challenged by other people. Yeah. And I think it's such a competitive nature between us, me and those guys, that's what created some of the magic that we had back then. And it's not lost on me that it could happen again. And I think you'd see now with some of the character evolutions that we've had and just all of us maturing a little bit over these years, might see the next level and the next iteration of that if it were to ever happen. So